We all want to feel purposeful, connected, and like we know who we are. So what happens when we hit midlife and we don't feel any of those things? You are not alone. Being lost in midlife happens to just about every woman I know of. So maybe you woke up this morning and you thought, oh my gosh, who am I? How did I get here? And what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Or if you're like me, you look in the mirror and think, who is this woman looking back at me? I don't even recognize this old person. It can be very disorienting to go through midlife and scary. It feels like life just took a turn all of a sudden, and I had things pretty well figured out, but now I'm just at a loss. Take a breath. You're not alone. Together, we are going to talk about this very sensitive topic that is rarely discussed. We're going to talk about why it happens and also some ways to navigate this beautiful season of our life. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Why midlife feels so disorienting for women? There's a lot of reasons, and once we can identify some of these reasons, then we can tackle what to do about each of them. I think there's a huge shift in the way our lives have been for the past several decades, 50 maybe. And the shift comes in ways of maybe being a caregiver to children, a mother, and then all of a sudden that changes dramatically when we become empty nesters. I know that when my children were moving out of the house, I had a complete meltdown, and I told my husband, let's sell everything so that we can buy an RV and travel the United States so that I could follow my two oldest children around wherever they were going. And we did that. And what I found was your grown children don't like it so much when you chase them. Of course, I was still a mother, but it's so different when you don't have little kids underfoot anymore. And then I felt like I didn't have value, which is another thing that happens. Why we really doubt our self-worth is when we have spent a lifetime being in a certain role or creating a career, and then it shifts all of a sudden, or a relationship has a shift, and we feel really unstable. Hormone change is a big one. All of a sudden, our metabolism slows down and our bodies are doing weird things that they've never done before. And they don't look like they used to when we were 25 anymore. And that's also really difficult as a woman. You know, we always take pride in being cute and being feminine and being pretty. And then you're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh my goodness, what is going on over there? So that's another reason why we feel so lost. There can also be a career kind of plateau in our lives. You know, we spend our 20s going to college and our 30s building up our career, and then all of a sudden it kind of does this. Or we've spent all this time on a career and we wake up one day and go, I don't really like this anymore, or I want to just try something different, bored of the same thing. but don't really know where to go now because, we aren't in our 20s and 30s. We're in our 40s, 50s, or 60s. What many women don't realize is that when we hit midlife, there is a process of grieving that happens. Grieving who we used to be on all the fronts. That young, spunky girl, the girl that had all the energy and had everything organized. And also, I think there is grieving for loss of time. It goes by in a blink. It's like, I feel like I was just barely 20 and starting my family, and then I blinked and my kids were grown, and now I'm 50. And that's really challenging because then I think it made me evaluate, like, what did I do with my life? And looking back at time and decisions that I had made, questioning if I did the right thing, which also brings up the should have. I should have saved more money for retirement instead of thinking I had all these years to do it. I should have been more present with my children instead of being so busy. I should have, and the list goes on and on. Releasing old dreams and grieving that many of them did not turn out the way I thought they were going to turn out. We had this image of ourselves when we're young, in our teens and our 20s, of how we're going to be when we're to this age that we're at now, and kind of beating ourselves up a little bit if we didn't achieve or have those dreams and goals and aspirations manifest into reality. Also, realizing that all of a sudden we're invisible. I think I was about 40 when all of a sudden I realized that I was invisible to everyone. Men, women, young people, old people. When we're young and women, you draw attention. It doesn't matter where you go, you draw some attention. And then when you get older, all of a sudden, it's like you don't even exist. And that was really hard for me to grapple with and to learn how to just be okay and love who I am, regardless of not being relevant anymore. So what do we do when we're feeling lost in our midlife? Well, this is our opportunity to rediscover our authentic selves. Looking at midlife not as dying and life is over and woe is me, but instead as an opportunity to kind of become a butterfly and rediscovering who we are. Some great ways are to think back when you were a child of things you loved to do before you were a mom, before you had the career, before you were a partner. And what were the things that kind of sparked your interest, the things that you just enjoyed doing? Was it dancing around to music or riding a bike or going swimming in a lake? Looking into doing these things again and just notice how they make you feel. Do you still feel alive when you do them? Becoming aware of the things that really fill your emotional bucket. The things that you don't necessarily have to be good at, but when you do them, you kind of lose yourself in it. It's the flow of life and doing more of those things. Also, if you were like me, by age 40, I didn't have a lot of things I was doing for myself anymore. So I had to try new things. Not to be the best at anything, just to see if I liked it, just to do it to be interesting, not for anyone else, but for myself. I didn't want to be bored with who I am, because if you don't like who you are, you will be a very lonely person. It's so valuable to just enjoy being with yourself. It might be time to explore your values and reevaluate your values. Because our values, what's really important to us, changes over time. When you were in your 20s, novelty and excitement was probably a value because everything was new for us. But now, as we get older, maybe security is more important to you. Looking at the values so you can start to identify the direction you want to go. Values are key for moving forward in life, and moving forward in life in a way that makes us feel happy, content, like we have purpose, we're connected, and that we are honoring our authentic self. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Cherish the gift that knowing that time is finite. Because as we are coming into this bracket of our life, or we are in this bracket of our life, recognizing how precious every moment of every day is, helps us to live fully each day. And reach out to communities of other women who are in the same time of life as you. I offer a weekly live class filled with some of the most beautiful women I have ever known in my entire life. You can sign up and become a member and join my weekly classes on my website, ConnieRiet.com. If you are feeling lost in midlife, please know that you are not alone. You are starting your life now again. This is not the end of your story. It's just the plot twist where you become the most beautiful woman you've ever been. You have spent decades of your life being there for other people, and now it's your turn to be there for yourself. Midlife is just the beginning. You are not lost. You are on the way to finding the perfect version of yourself. Have a beautiful day, my friend.